What up, world? It's your boy Jaystar back again for the final show, man. Wow, final show of the season, man. I think after this, man, you might see me pop up. I think to do kind of like more like a podcast form of the show when I would say like draft updates, free agencies. When people get picked up during the free agencies and who goes where, who gets traded, all that type of stuff. I'll probably pop up and do a show to talk about what advantages this does to certain offices, offenses and defenses and things like that. Um, what I expect with maybe some coaching changes and things like that too, kind of so we can kind of get a head start of next season, a little bit of how we want to attack playing certain teams or playing against certain teams because maybe they got weaker defensively already. And then as the draft comes too, to look at how do they fill in those gaps and holes of weaknesses that we have seen for certain teams like we can look at the Texans or something, like if they fill in the gaps of the reason why their run game is always so sorry, like everybody's able to run against them, like defensive wise, I mean, and it's mostly because their line and I would say like linebackers, they have none, so if they fill in gaps like that throughout the offseason, then we can kind of say they got stronger there, might not be able to just run against them as like, and pick every running back against them. But besides that, I don't think I'm gonna be doing the NBA. Maybe in the playoffs I might pop up because I do kind of like playing in the playoffs when things get, I want to say, like smaller slates and stuff like that. And I might randomly pop up and do some smaller slates throughout the season, but we'll see how things go. But for right now, my goal is to stay focused on the football because I do want to see how this offseason plays out after this Super Bowl. I feel like a lot of teams is going to try to load up and try to become the teams that we're seeing in the Super Bowl right now. It's been funny too already just looking at how it feels like to me like the 49ers are like some sore losers. Like every day I just see something pop up about them, talking about Philadelphia and how you supposed to attack them. And I'm just like, are y'all coaches on Kansas City Chiefs or something like that? Like, did we not know? It's kind of weird, But anyways, let's get into this game. This, like I said, last video, man, of the season. Um, Man, it's gonna be so great, man. This feels like just a great game waiting to happen here, man. I really cannot wait to see how this ends up playing out. Um, like I said before, we already saw in the first, I did the first look already. Kind of went over both defenses. They're both 4-3 defenses, kind of both man. I would say Kansas City plays a little bit more heavier man. Philly kind of throws in some zone in there as well. But Kansas City kind of sticks to the man and kind of tries to create pressure that way, and send some type of blitzes and things like that. On the other end, like I said, Philadelphia kind of leads, plays kind of the same thing like a man style defense. They believe that, their front four or front five that they want to send in there, if they send a linebacker in there, can create enough pressure so that way they can, hold coverage out back, in the backfield with their cornerbacks and DBs and all that stuff like that. So they just want to be able to create the pressure up front, which we know they're one of the most sacked teams ever, I think, in history too at that. So, they're really up there. I think they might have came second. But so that's how they want to play. So to me, period, both of these teams are going to have to be very disciplined, defensively wise, of course, but I want to say offensively wise too, because I would say like somebody like Jalen Hurts, when they're not running the ball, most of the plays, they're second to the Chiefs when it comes to 25 plus yard throws. So even though we know they heavily are a run team, super run team, Jalen Hurts to Sanders to what 5,000 down here. I mean, well, let's get to flex, so it's easier to know everybody's pricing here. But like Gainwell, with 5,000, and even Boston Scott, down here with 3,000 here. They're running with all these running backs as well as Jalen Hurts. And we know they like to set up deep plays off of this, them establishing the run basically. So they set up and they do most of their pass plays are not short distances at all. But the thing is, the Chiefs have kind of laid off of being such a blitz heavy team. They kind of sit back now in covers to prevent big plays now. So both of these teams, I feel like, kind of play the same type of style in the fact that they're only going to give you short type of yardage plays, and so you're going to have to be more disciplined and wait your turn basically for maybe finally something deep to get set up, unless you send in somebody that nobody's expecting to go deep, and it's the double coverage goes to the wrong, basically the wrong player, so that's how I'm kind of looking at trying to attack this whole slate here, because in for instance of that, I feel like if anybody was going to be more disciplined in that, it would be Pat Mahomes. He doesn't have Tyreek Hill with Demarcus Robinson and Hardman anymore. Like basically, one is hurt that's still on the team, and so he's not going to be able to play, and the other two are gone. So being that he's had to deal with that basically all season long, that he's having to dump the ball off to Kelsey, to open up everything else for all these other dumping options here, like a McKinnon, I would say like a Juju. Tony's filling in for Hardman, so he's gonna have to do the same thing, as well as Sky Moore when he comes in. So I look at all those weapons, like those are going to be some of the best weapons, as well as, of course, Pacheco just running the ball, since Philly is kind of, weak in that dimension of stopping it. So I would say, yeah, him running the ball, you need to kind of establish something there too as well. But having McKinnon being able to, looks like since Pat Mahomes is going to be healthy, he might not be in the backfield blocking as much as he was. He might be popping out to, catch the ball and be going on some screen plays, or just coming right across in front of Pat Mahomes' face in the middle of the field where they need to be attacking the defense at. And it should be probably a bigger game for him, So I look at those type of plays on that side of the field being a big deal. If I believe, Pat Mahomes gets stopped a lot, and they're in field goal range, then I would think, also Bucker could be a big play. But I kind of feel like you're going to need to score some touchdowns, because both of these teams, like, they play the same way early. Like, they both like to get up big. They both like to, score all their points in the first and the second quarters and stuff like that. They want to get up big, and they want to just be able to, like, run the ball, or not really run the ball for Chiefs, but they kind of like, playing downhill like that. They want to be up big, so it's kind of easy cruising through the rest of the second half. But if they both start off electrifying like that, then nobody's going to be able to play like that. It's just never going to be a let up game and stuff like that. So no team's going to be able to let up at all. They're just going to have to keep attacking one another. So that's going to be crazy. And still, and even in that instance, it's like these defenses are going to have to be very disciplined, because, like I said, if they stay disciplined to how they want to play and not allow big plays to happen like that, you're going to have to just chip away. Then it's going to be bigger games for, like, the people I just described for the Kansas City Chiefs. And then on the same thing for the Eagles side, since I would say like a AJ kind of does a lot of deeper routes. He doesn't play the slot as much or as often as he did in Tennessee. So, like, I know a lot of people talk about how when he was on Tennessee, he was able to eat up the Chiefs. Also back then, though, the Chiefs had a lot of short cornerbacks, and AJ does really good against short quarterbacks, especially if you're going to man up against him, like Kansas City loves to do, is man up. But it's like they have bigger and longer cornerbacks now, and more athletic too, even though they are rookies and things like that, besides Snead. So he could have a harder time if they don't move him to the slot, or move him outright, because I believe the right side cornerback is more weaker, but that's where Devontae Smith lines up more. Also, Devontae Smith lines up in the slot a lot more. This team on Philly likes to run a lot of 2 wide receiver sets. When they do throw in 3 receivers, you got a chance of Quez Watkins or Zach Pascal. Zach Pascal is more of a better blocker, I would say, though. So they kind of, when they bring him in, he might be in for a screenplay to one of these receivers. So I would say they could be setting up something like that. But I really feel like Devontae Smith and Goddard are more of the players that I could see catching intermediate passes or even shorter distant passes. Sanders doesn't come out the backfield too often to catch. As you see over here, receiving targets is pretty low all the time. If anybody is that person over here, if it's running back wise, we probably are looking at Gainwell. He's always in for pass catching, plays anyways, but he also can run, and he's been able to run pretty well as of lately. So, but his target still, catches, but he goes for 26, catches 4, goes for 41. You got close to 40 yards that can happen there for him. Coming out the backfield. So I do look at that, and it's going to set up, it's definitely going to set up some of these big shots. They're going to, and I feel like if any team has the better chance of taking big shots and actually completing them, it should be the Eagle side. I feel like the pass protection should be way better, because they don't got to go against an all front line of people that's been double digit sacking. I do expect Kansas City to come out defense and try to show up and show out or something a little bit, but it is like they are still going against an elite front line that's for Philly. And I feel like the best option for Philly to do is run right at Jones or run right at Clark too as well. I think they would just run right at those pass rushers, that they do have that's elite. Since they're trying to come right at their, right at the quarterback or right into the backfield and get to the quarterback, it's might as well just run straight that way. Take the run right at them. Because I mean that's what Kansas City kind of does, but they do it in a different way. Since they don't run and kind of do screen plays right after your best pass rushers like a Hassan Reddick, they'll just do a screen play that way. So I definitely feel like both of these teams, have big advantages to, what the defenses are going to try to do. So we're going to get into that now, like trying to, figure out who's the best options when it comes to that, when it comes to captain plays because of that. So first of all, I got to keep going. I'm still going to go with, thinking the Kansas City side of things and knowing that they're going to do a lot of dumping, more than likely trying to get the ball quick out of Pat Mahomes' hands. They can't let Kelsey get taken out the game then. Because he gets the most value. He sets up everything for everybody else to have success and things like that. So I think Kelsey's going to be a really good play. I think Juju's going to be a sneaky option play, for captain. But besides that, I feel like these two are the best ones. We haven't really seen anybody besides these two when it comes to pass catching options. But when it comes to running back options, I also do think McKinnon is going to be in play for captain too. Because these should be the three that get more than likely the most value to most opportunity to make a big play, to score maybe multiple times. And besides that, then it would be Pat Mahomes. So for this side, this is what I'm looking at, building from captain on and stuff like that. From when it comes to just, I would say flex options here, we can hit on an MVS, deep shot down the field, possibly. Pacheco could also rush in the ball, for a touchdown, but also I'm going to take him out here because I want to leave some room for some other people. Tony, I do feel like is going to have a big part of this game, as well as I think Sky Moore could be a big part of this game. But since Philly is also, bad against the run, we can even toss out McKinnon here because CEH at $1,000 still is a really good play. Now that he's activated and everything, going to be a really good play there. If you want to roll with a kicker or the defense, I don't mind you taking shots at that too. Those are usually just safe bets, But as for just, really, really good field of players, I think that's going to be actually in the lineups. These are probably all the best plays I think will be here. From the cheapest option down here, I think that's one of the best plays. MVS, I don't feel as great because, like I said, since Philly is going to try their hardest to kind of take away that, only if some of these other options get hurt again, then yeah, they will move MVS into those areas where these two, players and Juju's and stuff like that will run routes, which is what they did the last game. They moved MVS to the slot. It was just why he had such a great game, because that's where Kansas City kind of operates their best plays from, is the slot or the middle of the field, or just dumping the ball off to these running backs and stuff like that. So it's not as great to be just a wideout on their team anymore, because they know a lot of teams try to take away those deep shots like that out wide. So they gotta kind of be different and not lose their best players out there and their best weapons out there by moving them into the slot, moving them into the middle of the field. So that's why I say more than likely I wouldn't want to take a shot too much at MVS that much, because this is an elite defense out wide, especially with Bradbury and Slay. I will more look at to the middle of the field options and things like that. So yes, both, I would say CEH could also pop out the backfield. I could see him doing something like that, as well as, Pacheco or McKinnon. You can take any one of those. I feel like they kind of both doing it, but I think McKinnon might have a bigger game because of the fact we've seen him put up 30 fantasy points before. We've seen him put up 28s and stuff like that. So could be a huge game for him. On the other side here, when it comes to just captain options here, my favorite plays over here, Jalen Hurts has got to be number one. He's just been getting almost a rushing touchdown. I think he had 15 rushing touchdowns, something like that. It's pretty crazy out of the 17 or so games and things. And we know he didn't even play, like 2 or something like that. So he's basically getting almost a touchdown almost every game. Besides, like I would say, the playoffs, I think. Or maybe I think that was playoffs combined. So there's a few games I know he didn't rush in a touchdown. But yeah, he's just almost guaranteed to might possibly give him. If you think they're going to get stopped short at all in the game for a goal line, at a goal line touchdown area, he throws a deep pass to AJ and he gets caught short. Devontae Smith gets caught short, or Goddard. More than likely, the quarterback sneaking because no team has been able to stop it. So he's kind of got to be the best freaking option. And I just think they're going to have a hard time just stopping him from leaving out of that pocket and running. I don't think they have the linebackers with the same exact speed of the 49ers did with Fred Warner and things like that. So I do think he has a way better chance at least running about 40 to 50 yards in this game, and possibly scoring a touchdown with that. Besides that, yeah, AJ Brown is going to be, still a good option. I feel like he has one of the hardest matchups though to get there, but it's still AJ Brown. We know what he can do if he hits early on, breaking coverage, or he just beats the man. They get one-on-one on him and they don't double him. He can, and if they put him also, maybe they might move him in the slot. We don't know completely what the game plan will be, but if they do move him to the slot, he will have a better advantage of going off from there. So gotta go ahead and put AJ Brown there because of that. But besides that, I definitely think Devontae Smith should have probably the better game. I definitely feel like, his route running ability, he moves around across the field, always kind of gets him into the best matchup. The fact that I think AJ will be double covered, and if you move Devontae in the middle of the field, he's going to be in there with Goddard. So you got to make a choice on which one you're going to double and which one you're not. Which also thinks kind of opens up to me Goddard being a captain option too as well. So to me, the best three is these three over AJ Brown. Even though I know he has been really great against man coverage all year, but I'm just saying because I think these two will probably have the most easiest matchup throughout the whole game. And if Jalen Hurts isn't just being a favoritism to just going to AJ Brown throughout the whole time, trying to make sure he has a great game, and I don't think he ever really plays like that. I feel like he's going to take what you're going to give him. And if that's going to be Devontae Smith and Goddard the whole time, then those two will probably have their best games. These are just captain plays. I mean, if you want to toss Gainwell or something like that in there, or also Sanders, you think he's going to rush in a touchdown, I don't mind you taking those options too, because I don't believe it's any defense really that could just stop a run game when one of the running backs is the quarterback. I feel like that's the most hardest thing. We literally saw the 49ers supposed to be one of the best teams against the run, and they couldn't stop the run at all because they were so focused on stopping Jalen Hurts from ever running. He never really did. So, he just handed it off every time because they were so focused on him and not these running backs. So it goes to show it doesn't really matter. So definitely Sanders could also be a captain play. But besides these plays for captains, when it comes to just, flex options here, I definitely still feel AJ Brown is going to be a good play there. I do like a little bit more Gainwell over Sanders, just because he's pass catching option. I feel like he's been running about like 10-2, like double digit times, and then he gets about 4 to 3 targets. I feel like those targets could come up really big in this game since they're going to give a lot of short stuff, and that's where he kind of exceeds and excels at. Then I would say, you could toss in a kicker if you want to. If you want to check a chance on the defense too, coming up big, getting an interception or something, I don't mind that. Who am I missing here though? Let's see. Definitely Boston Scott has shown, if you want to take the 8 points possibly, or if you think the Eagles is up big in this game, they usually kind of lean to Boston Scott late. So, as well as Gainwell, but Boston Scott kind of gets those touches late. So if he already has a goal line rushing touchdown, also he does kick returns. Same thing for Sky Moore with the kick returns. So also a good combination could possibly be a Sky Moore Chiefs defense or a Boston Scott and Eagles defense, since they both do kick returns. If you think one of them runs back a kick return, possibly in for 12 points if they actually run it back, because you get the 6 points for the defense and you're going to get 6 points for Boston Scott or Sky Moore. So it's a good little combination there to throw in. Besides that, below here, if you want to take a shot with the Justin Watson play, I don't really mind if you really, because we don't know if those receivers will hold up for sure the whole game. If they don't, they didn't have Justin Watson the 2 weeks ago. They didn't have him, so I feel like he might have had a bigger role in that game if they did have him. So definitely think he's a good play, to toss in there. Let me see. You got Noah Gray, backup tight ends. I do kind of like the backup tight end play, like Noah Gray to also where is he at? Fortson. One of them could get a goal line touchdown because Eagles defense is going to be so on trying to double Kelsey as much as possible, and because of that, they can do a double tight end play and kind of have Kelsey running a route just to distract and draw the double coverage away from one of these other tight ends that just slip out the backfield like a Fortson or something like that, and so I definitely feel like those tight ends could be in play, especially if you're going higher up for your captain play, somebody super high up, paying up for them and trying to get a lot of other pay up options, taking a cheap tight end, backup tight end could still benefit you for a touchdown in this game. And then, of course, what I want to say, you can also take a shot, Quez Watkins, like I said, or Zach Pascal, for the I would say over here because of the fact that the attention mostly will be on, Devontae Smith and AJ Brown. So one of these other receivers could also, come out the backfield and catch a touchdown or something like that. If they decide to throw, I know this is a heavy run team, so it's probably better to have a Boston Scott than to even take some of these receivers. But let's get into just building a lineup now, man, to win it all, man. Last game of the whole season. Wow, man, it's crazy. So to me, thinking about this game, man, I feel like the best captain by far is Jalen Hurts, and it's the whole reason why he's at the top. But besides that, I kind of skipped Mahomes, even though I do feel like he is an advantage of having him because of that. Like I do feel like a lot of people might skip Mahomes a little bit and kind of go down to AJ. Some people take Devontae Smith and Kelsey, of course. But I do think in a game where, like I said, need to be disciplined, and we're trying to find the volume, who's going to get enough volume or is electric enough to take something short distance, within 5 catches or 10 catches and get enough points where it's 25 plus points fantasy for us, and I feel like the best person is just Kelsey, man. When I really think about that, it's just Kelsey. Like that's what he does now. He's the master of catching a whole boatload of, targets, short distance, and making the most of it. Like you talking about 20, 35, 20, 23, 38, 20, 23, 22, 33, 24, 29. Like he's just really good at doing that. As well as scoring, a whole boatload of touchdowns as well with that. So I kind of just got to go with Kelsey. It doesn't to me mean though, just because I have Kelsey at captain, that I have to have Pat Mahomes though. I just kind of feel that, there is possibility that Pat Mahomes could still get outplayed by a couple of people or just Jalen Hurts because of the rushing ability with Jalen Hurts. So being that I think Jalen Hurts is going to be kind of unstoppable in this game, I got to go with Jalen Hurts. I think he's getting a rushing touchdown. I think he's going to be able to hit his targets. I don't believe the Kansas City can stop every target out there that he has to throw the ball to. And stop him from running the ball, because you got to focus on trying to. After them, they have to have watched that film and saw that he reads the linebacker so well and the line so well that he's going to run at the right time or not run at the right time. So that RPO option that he runs almost every down, it's going to be too hard for them to stop, I think. I kind of wanted to have a lineup with 2 quarterbacks, but I know it's going to be hard to take that type of lineup and get good players with having like a play up option like this and Kelsey, unless I was to take somebody super cheap down there, like I was saying, like a Fortson or something. So I could do that too as well, but I'm going to go ahead right now, kind of build off of a Jalen Hurts here and try to give me somebody that I like with him. A few people that I like with him, really, because I really think they love to throw to Goddard early and get him going early. And Kansas City has had a problem with tight ends all season long, and I feel that probably for the last 2 games, they didn't have to deal with tight ends that actually are a part of the game plan as, because Ingram is like, he was hit and miss all season long. And I know people don't want to admit that, but, because he ended like going into the playoffs probably pretty strong. And I want to say that probably the game before he was, had a good game, but he was 10 targets to 2 targets a lot of times. The difference with Goddard, he's always like 5, 6, targets, period. So you always have to deal with him. And I feel that because of that, he's going to have success in this game. So I definitely like taking Goddard. I'm going to go ahead and take Gainwell. I'm just going to roll with the hot streak of how he's been playing. I really like the way he's been playing. He just keeps getting used and coming out the backfield, catching some dumps, or running when they so focus on Hurts running the ball and he takes off. I feel like he's going to have success running the ball. Besides that, I think my next option is I am going with Devontae Smith as my receiver option here. I really just got a good feeling about him. It's him or AJ for sure, but I just think him moving around, his route running ability, I think he's going to go off. He's been on pretty hot streak too as well. We've seen him do pretty good, 18, 13 there, but 23, 34, 20, 17, 24. He was lighting it up, and it really didn't matter which type of defense, 3-4s, 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 4-3, 4-3. It don't matter. He's been doing good against all those type of defense. And it's just because he's able to maneuver around the field and get the best matchup. as well as most of the focal point is always on, AJ. And then you, like I said, they can even line him up with Goddard on the same side, and then you got to deal with that. So being here at 2,900 left, I feel like my best option here was to actually take a backup tight end for sure, probably just because I already got Kelsey there. Could take a backup tight end, since one is doing good, mine's, could just say might as well do that. But since I do know the Eagles aren't really good against the run, I'm gonna go ahead and just take my option with CEH here. So that's how I built this lineup here. I don't also mind switching out Jalen Hurts to Pat Mahomes because Pat Mahomes could have a bigger day than Jalen Hurts just because he doesn't throw a lot. And if he doesn't get it done rushing, I would say a touchdown in. If somehow he doesn't rush in a touchdown, then he possibly could not maybe throw enough yards for a 300-yard bonus to get me in there. So I don't mind switching that out since I already have Kelsey. I really do like this lineup though a lot. Besides that, moving that out, I also don't mind. I think. Let me see. I would say switching this and put in if I can take Jalen Hurts at captain and still get Kelsey. So don't mind switching it up and doing that too as well. I think either way the lineup looks really good. So that's what I'm sticking with, man. Hopefully, it wins us some big money. I left a lot of money on the table here to kind of separate myself from a lot of other people that don't really like to leave a lot of money. But it's the last game of the season, man. Usually it kind of, you need to leave a little salary, man, if you want to be, really want to win this one. But it's your boy Jaystar. Good luck to all of y'all, man. Hope y'all have a great Super Bowl experience. Y'all watch the Super Bowl. Have a good time. Like I told y'all, I do be acting and things like that. I was in a commercial with Will Ferrell. I'm playing a zombie, so y'all probably really can't see me as much because I am a zombie and I'm all maked up, and everything into zombie costume. It was a really fun commercial. It's going to air in the Super Bowl. Also, yeah, I told y'all too before. I'm sure y'all seen this commercial right here. This is a Modelo commercial spot. This is me right here, y'all. So I know y'all seen this. It's probably still airing on certain channels and things like that, but it used to air a lot during the football and things like that. So, but that's your boy Jaystar. I'm out, y'all. Peace.